Good day, good day, good day. This is Mr. Anderson. Uh, for everyone that's new, that may know me or may not know me, I'm always thinking. So if y'all catch me pausing for a minute, a lot of times my mind has had 15,000 ideas. And with everything, all this movement going on around me, it just triggers a lot of things, really, especially as I'm thinking. I'm scanning, paying attention to the world and understanding what's going on in my life and everything. And alignment. It's just really me aligning myself with everything. I do ride share and I get some really interesting people. I had one couple, well, it was a lady and her little daughter and little boy, and they had to be from London. And like, I'm crying, laughing inside. Like, I'm to the point where I'm having to wipe my tears that I'm laughing inside so hard. And it was like, mommy, Daddy's Tesla doesn't have this, mommy. And the word, it's just the words that she was saying and the way they were talking. It just kind of reminded me, man, we are where we're from. We're a product of our environment. And that goes back to thinking, the way you think and the way you are and who you are and how you align yourself and what do you portray to be and who you really are, and what are you trying to accomplish in this life, in this world, and everything. And it just reminded me of listening to them talk. And then I get a lot of Jamaican. I have been having a lot of Jamaican. I had a lot of foreign people, um, and it's just been interesting listening to them talk and me not understanding a word they're saying, but it's just knowing. And I've had some Chinese people and Asian people and just so many different cultures. And I had this one girl that I thought she was American, but she got the on the phone. I think she was talking to her dad. She got the talking in Russian or German, and I was like, okay. So just all that, like, but we're and just hearing their conversations and hearing the one German girl, she was taking a test and she had failed the test before that she took. And she said she really wasn't prepared the first time, but she was prepared this time, but she was still in fear, scared. And she said she didn't want any people to say, oh, well, you did your best. Like, she was like, I'm tired of hearing that. And, I'm tired of hearing people say that I did my best, but I failed. So to me, I was thinking, okay, well, we just have to study harder. We just have to block out time to really focus and know the information that we're trying to receive and the test that we're going through in life, not just on paper, but the test that we're going through in life. And, she got to talking, I don't know what it was, German, I guess, with her dad. And she said she felt like she passed the test, but as she was talking to the person, whoever was on the phone, I think it was her dad, it was like she started really doubting herself. Whatever he was saying or whatever that person was saying on the phone, she started doubting herself. And it's like you have to really separate yourself from other people's thoughts and other people's perception of what it is, because everybody's coming from their experience. Everybody's coming through with information from their experience, from what they're lacking. A lot of it is fear and a lot of it failure. And then people don't know how to, which is it's understandable. You just want to be sympathetic towards that person, but yet at the same time, some people don't want sympathy. They just want the truth, and that's who I am. I want the truth. Just tell me the truth. Don't hold me. Don't sugarcoat it. Just tell me what it is. I'm at that point in my life. I've been at that point in my life, that I want to change. I want to do better, and that's part of what I'm doing is with my growth is understanding the things that I needed to work on, the things I need to work on, the things that I did good, the things that I did great, and things that I need to change, things that I don't need to change, and things that maybe I need to reword certain things. I have more emotions or less emotions. So listening to that conversation, it was just like, wow, and then by the time she got off the phone, she was like, oh my God, like, I don't think she got in the car, and the ride was only maybe 6 minutes, 8 minutes. I'll say the back, it was probably 10 minutes. So that 10-minute conversation changed her whole perspective and probably ended up ruining her day or messing up her day for the most part, because she was constantly saying that she thinks she did good. It was just she kind of ran out of time on the last few questions, so she kind of rushed through the last few questions. But she spent more time going back and rechecking the questions that she had before to make sure that she was reading it right. And she was saying that, the does not fit, and those words. And that's why I tell my son, like on driving tests, they put that you have to be careful with the is and the was and the not. You have to really look at that and really read it, because a lot of times we skim through it or we really don't read the sentence, and then we see the answer like, oh, it's this one, and then it's wrong because they said which one isn't or which one wasn't. So she was saying she had to go back and read those and make sure she read it right, and that's kind of how she kind of had to rush through the lab. She said she finished it, but it was just kind of a little bit of a rush. But anyway, it's just and then she got to talking about her anxiety and how she just, our anxiety, and she was like, she don't know how to fix it. She just has to work through it. And I started to say, meditate. I started to say, sit still. One of the things that was told to me whenever I feel nervous, put my heels in the ground, push my heels down and breathe. And I've been doing that, when it comes to certain things. And if I'm standing or if I'm driving, I get nervous or I think about something that kind of make me upset or gives me some kind of emotion. At the moment, it's like I feel it, and then I push my feet down, and I like widen my stance, or I just widen my shoulders and sit up and breathe it out, and understand that feeling and understand that nervousness or whatever is associated with that. And then I had another guy that was got in here. It was a group of guys. They were one of the guys, they was coming here to support their friend. He was going through a divorce, and it was not a bad divorce. It sounded like he might have cheated or something, the way it sounded like. And he had been married to the wife for 24 years. And we were driving, and he was saying, that building right there, it was a building downtown. He said, I built that. And I was like, what? I said, man, I need a job. You hired? He's like, yeah, man, I'll get you information. But yet he asked me some questions, and he asked me how do I deal with things. And then I was just like, man, we have to look at the situation. We have to be accountable. You have to protect yourself in that situation. And I told him, I said, I didn't know your situation. He just asked question. And I told him, I was like, man, I protect myself, and I learned to say no. I learned to say no, even though, if it's not something that, if it's something I'm gonna have to rush through, or something I don't feel comfortable doing, if it's something, I have to protect myself and say no. I have to protect myself and say, well, or question it. And that's what I'm a questioner, and I'm a thinker. So I'm going to think it through, but I did allow, we allow people to manipulate the situations and make us feel something we shouldn't have felt, or we don't feel in the beginning. And that's like that young lady with her dad or whoever was on the phone with. She was feeling fine when she got in the car, but by the end of the car ride, she was kind of feeling bad, like, man, worried that I might have failed a test. And I heard her say, this is probably the biggest test of my life and all this other stuff. And yet, I dropped her off, and she was going to volunteer for some kids at tennis, to teach tennis. And she said, I don't know how this is going to go because I forgot my racket. I don't have a racket. I don't know how I'm going to teach them with no racket. So it was just funny. It's just funny. But it's just understanding life, man, and understanding our situations and where we come from. And, a lot of times we do need to look at our elders in some sense of listening to them, but you also have to, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, yet you have to also understand the era that they were raised, that they grew up in. The things have changed dramatically. And like I'm riding around Nashville and, Franklin and Germantown and Antioch and Hendersonville and Madison and Mount Juliet, all these places, and so much is changing. Then I'm looking at housing prices and lot prices and seeing all these buildings being built, and it's just like, wow, man. Life is abundant. Life is abundant. People always say, well, ain't there no money? Yeah, there's money. It's just we have to figure out how to tap into it. And a lot of times that's really changing our mindset and understanding certain things. So the guy was, they were like, man, they were like, they didn't even want to go to the club. They was like, we don't even want to go to the bar downtown. We just need to pull over and sit down and have a drink and talk. And they told me to turn the radio down. We were talking and we just could talk. And they were like, man, you need to put a camera in here and be the ride share counselor or something. Because he's like, you have some very deep thoughts and they're very deep. I said, yeah, man, I'm in myself. I'm really taking this time this year. I've always wanted to grow, and wanted to grow into who I am. Sometimes we get sidetracked, and sometimes life happens, and we get aside from that. Yet now, at this point in my life, it's like I have to do it because it's not only for me, it's for my children, because they're going to be a product of me and what I grow through. Man, I was told that other day too. That's what made me say that, grow through. We said we have to grow through love. We have to grow through money. We have to grow through finances. We have to grow through, success. We have to grow into those things. We have to grow into, I said it wrong. Yeah, we have to grow into love. We have to grow into respect. We have to grow into those things. Both growing into it and grow through it. Man, that's bars. So it's both of those. And that's what I told him. I was like, man, yeah, I have to grow through it. I have to grow through it and understand it. And I don't want to hide from or distract myself from my feelings. And the one guy in the front seat, he said, yeah, for men, a lot of times we're just supposed to tough it up and move on. And I was like, yeah, those days are done and over with. We still have to have a thick, tough skin, yet the most powerful way to have that powerful, thick, tough skin is to grow in it and understand it. Not just tough it up and let it go. It's to tough it up, understand it, and change or rebound or whatever it is that we need to do. Man. So with that being said, like I said, it's just so much life going on, man, and I'm getting all these different perspectives of it, and it's just, I can go on, man, because I get a lot of these young black men that come in here that's 20, 21, around the same age as my son, and it's like a lot of them don't really have guidance. They're so into gaming and stuff, and I was like, I understand the gaming, or their parents don't, that generation didn't know how. The generation before us didn't know how. Well, most people don't know how to evolve, man, with the times and understand. And that's what I tell my son. He want a game and he want to do these things. Like, man, I understand that. I'm not trying to change that is, but you still need the foundation. You still need solid concrete or ground to stand on, to be able to get the things that you need for yourself, to build that traction, to build that network or that system or that that channel or whatever it is that you're trying to build. You still need that foundation. You just have to do time management, and that's one of the big things that I'm working on, is really being time management. I spent so much time driving trucks that I never really was able to focus on me and what my dreams and understand who I was, because I was always gone. And now that I've been home in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been able to see a lot and grow through a lot and say no, and no, this is not how it's gonna go, and man up on some situations and man up in a way that's like, man, I'm gonna take charge. I'm gonna be who it is I need to be, that I know I am inside, whether you like it or not. This is just the guy who's gonna be, and I'm not trying to be like a dominant. I don't know what the word, but I'm not trying to be overbearing or anything with it. But if it's something that I firmly believe, and I know the way my mind works, I go through I can visualize the stuff as I think about it. Like, I can visualize it, I can see it. That's a blessing and it's a curse sometimes. But yeah, it's like we have to really understand life, man. We really got to understand ourselves and our purpose and our alignment and align ourselves with that stuff. Thinking the way we think is the big part of that. Being a product of where we come from is a big part of that. But I was talking about these young black guys, and I was like, man, they don't know how. And I tell them, man, get your CDL license. Get your CDL. Man, somebody else told me about a CDL license. And then I tell them about trading, man, start trading. Learn how to trade. Yet they don't know how to look. People don't know how to. You have these tools in front of you. And I understand there's a lot of stuff out there, information. You just have to really find 2 or 3 things and stick with them. And just stick with that. That's what my trading journey was. It was like there was all these gurus. And I found the people that resonated with me in all aspects of my life. And that's what I stuck with and what I dealt with. And that's what I tell these guys. And I tell them, man, they be like, man, one guy was like, man, have you ever thought about, mentoring? I was like, yes, I'm actually working on all that stuff now. I'm starting to do some things that I'm being pulled to. And it's stuff that aligns with who I am and where I want to go and what I want to be. And be for my children and for my family and for whoever need information, because there's a lot of there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of good information mixed with a lot of bad information. And I'm the type of person, I like your experiences have way more value than what you read in a book. The books add extra value to it, but you have to understand, and that's where I feel like I'm big on. The books help me understand my experiences, man. It really helped me understand and give me a perspective of my life that I didn't know, and so it made me think differently. So that's what I tell them. And one guy was like, man, I'm just tired of being around these same dudes. They're not doing nothing. I'm young. I'm 22 years old. And, I'm trying to get my own house and my own apartment. And I feel like I'm stuck. And I'm like, man, that was one of the things I remember my sister telling me back then. And back when I was going to school and I dropped out and partied. And, man, them days. She was like, man, get your CDL license. I didn't ever think about it. Never been in a truck, never been in a semi-truck, never thought about driving trucks, ever. And just one day my sister was like, why you don't drive trucks? You ain't got no children, and you young, and you get to see the countryside and the country, and, get to travel around and make some money. And back then, it was making pretty good money. And I tell people, man, for y'all who drove trucks and know somebody drive trucks, I started off at 23 cents a mile. 23 cents a mile. That sounds crazy. And then Eric, my brother, when he started, I think he started off at like 36 cents or 36 cents, or because he's 36 cents or 37 cents, somewhere around 38 cents. I was mad. I was like, man, I've been doing it all these years and I'm barely at 28 cents and you come in at, but that's just the times change. That's just how life evolves, where the world evolves. And then I had World evolves. That's just how it is. I mean, we have to suck it up and understand it. But it's just a perspective, man. It's just really align yourself with who you really and truly want to be. And this is part of my growth, man. Me doing this and I love, but anyway, I love to help people, and I think that's a blessing and a curse as well sometimes, because I'm learning that I I have to put my mask on first. I have to put my mask on first. Let me help myself. Let me get to where I need to be, because I can't do nothing for my family, you know, if I'm not where I need to be mentally and physically, you know. And I've been going to the gym, proud of myself, looking at myself in the mirror like, I'm back. But it's just part, and that's what I told the guy too, when me and him were talking. I said, man, you have to do what you love. And at the end, he was like, yeah, I made a mistake. I'm living with it. I had to deal with it. You know, he was with his marriage for 26 years and 3 or 4 kids, and he got talking about how much he was gonna pay in child support. I was like, God, leave me. Woo-wee. And then alimony. I was like, man. Woo. So, but I mean, we make mistakes. You got to learn from it. That's what I told him. I said, I'm not. That's just not me. I can see the mistake, and I can see the direction, the what ifs, if I did something. And then the main what if, the main thing about it all is I have my mama on my shoulder, on both shoulders, both my mom on my shoulders. I just think whenever I'm finna do something stupid, or I think about it, I see with my mind how my mom gonna react. You know, and I'm not trying to do that. I know I can hear her now. What was that for? Love your mama. But anyway, that's what I do, and that's what's kept me out of trouble for a long time. You know, a long time. Kept me from doing stupid stuff a long time. But that's why I tell these young men, like when I tell them, like, get your CDL license, go to welding school, get your trade. And that's what the guy that was in here that was telling about that built that building, him and his friends, all of them have great jobs. And he was like, I'm pushing my kids into trade, into welding. He was like, my children don't want to listen because they just think that I got to be the welder. He was like, no, I'm teaching my children how to learn how to weld, perfect it, weld, get your business, get you a contract, and get you 30 people that can weld. Hire 30 contractors and teach that know how to weld, and put them on their business, and you sit back at home in your $10 million home. And I was like, that's the thinking that product your environment. You have to be around people. And a lot of parents don't know that. A lot of parents, you know, were taught, get a factory job, you know, get some insurance, get a union job. I had one guy in here who was a truck driver that was like 3rd generation truck driver, and had union jobs. And he's like, that's what they passed on. But then his dad had ended up quitting the job and ended up getting his own dump truck or whatever. It was doing dump truck stuff. So, but that's why I tell these young men to come in here in my truck, and my car, whenever I'm doing Uber, like, man, get your welding, go to school for a trade, you know, some kind of a trade, because they're gonna always need somebody to build. They're gonna always need somebody to drive trucks, and even diesel mechanic. You know, now that these electric cars. Yeah, I know how I love electric cars. And now they're getting these electric cars, man. You can be an engineer on being building cars, you know. And one of the guys I spoke with in here, that he was a cook and he was a chef, and he was going to school to be a cybersecurity guy. And I was like, man, it's like, but you just have to put that phone down sometimes, or you have to get away, or you have to network with people, like-minded people, or people, you know, that thinks like you, man. I wasn't trying to be on here long. I'm sorry, y'all. I get in my zones, and I'm being spoken to, so I'm speaking. It's just so much life goes on around us that, you know, we have to choose our direction. You know, we have to align ourselves with. We have to put our toe in that direction and walk in that direction. Find it out. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to go through some stuff, go around some things, power through some stuff. Yet, we have to, change. And one lady was talking, sister was asking about my car and Tesla, and I was like, man, I love the cars. I love the cars. Speaking of electric cars, I love the cars. And she was like, how do you separate yourself from Elon? I was like, I don't care what Elon do. Elon gonna be a trillionaire regardless if I buy a car or not. This ain't his only business. And I was like, that's what's wrong with people. We get too emotionally attached to certain things. And I was like, if you really want to get technical to it, there's a lot of stuff that has reputations attached to it, but we still buy it. Because it's just, we still buy it. Or people that attach to it that don't care, or whatever the case may be. I don't care. I like the car. It's safe. It's saving me money. It's roomy. It's everything I need. So why would I allow someone else to hinder my choice of what's best for me and my family? That's what people, and I told her, I was like, it's like Trump. People don't like Trump. You don't see people not going to work. You don't see people staying at home and not buying anything. You don't see people not going to work, not traveling, not doing anything. No, your life still has to go on, whether you like the person in charge, or you like your manager, you like your boss. You might not like the product, you might not like any of the stuff, but you still go. You still go. Until you can align yourself with something else, you're going to do that. And then once you align yourself with what it is that you want, you're not going to be worried about that. You're going to be worried about the end of the day is like, what did I do? Am I able to provide for my family? Am I able to provide for my children? Am I able to live a life that I want? Am I able to align myself with what I want? I'm at Target. So am I able to hit my target? So, I mean, like I always say, I'm so thankful that, me driving trucks for so long, and I'm finna go out of this because I'm almost 30 minutes in. Me driving trucks for so long, it took me away, but it made me sit with myself. Man, that's deep. It made me sit with myself. And that's what anyone that has really had time to sit with themselves for a extended period of time, you really start questioning things. You really start looking at your life and your path and everything that you've been through and going through to see what it is that you're doing. And it's wow, but now you have to understand and use the resources you have to develop that time, develop that understanding, and sit with yourself and look at your mind and align what it is and align with what it is and change and grow and look at a purpose. Is it your children? Is it your church? Is it your buying a house? Is it, taking care of your mom, taking care of your family? What is it? Align yourself with that and do that. And that's why I would tell people, man, I just lost my job, not too long ago. And good paying job, really good paying job. And I lost the trucking company that I had, my marriage, I lost a lot. Yet I'm still standing and I'm learning and I'm being accountable for the things that I did right. And I'm being accountable for the things that I did wrong. I always meditate and pray for strength through the good and strength through the bad. And I don't know who I heard say that, but that's what they said. It was like, man, we have to pray for strength. Strength for the good stuff, because good stuff comes weight. It comes responsibility. The bad stuff, it comes responsibility. It comes weight. So we have to pray and do whatever it is for both, for strength. And that's what I told that guy. Like, man, you have to stay strong. Listen to yourself. It's good that you got friends, support to come down here and be with you at this time. And that's what's important. that foundation, those group of guys or men or women that you align yourself with, that know you and know who you are, know how you are, and regardless of who's throwing shade or shit at you, that you stand your ground and you say no. You protect yourself. So, with that being said, I'm done. It's 30 minutes. I wasn't trying to be on here long, of course. But this is Mr. Anderson, and I approve this message. Message. Y'all be easy. Good day.